Democrats say they have finally reported all the results from Monday's caucuses, but there are still some inconsistencies.
KPIX5's Wilson Walker says the botched vote has California officials reassuring voters ahead of the March 3rd primary.
Look, I've been hearing about it nonstop since Monday night. You know, what happened in Iowa. How do we know that's not going to happen here in California?
That California Secretary of State Alex Padilla feels the need to reassure voters here just reflects the scale of the fiasco in Iowa. Of course, this was not Iowa's fault. The mess lands squarely in the lap of the Iowa Democratic Party.
What happened last night is simply unacceptable.
Well, as a state party chair, I have some level of empathy for my colleagues in Iowa.
Rusty Hicks is chairman of the California Democratic Party. He is not worried about March 3rd.
And so our process is run by the Secretary of State, Alex Padilla, and I have the utmost confidence that he will ensure that we have a fair, accurate, and complete count.
But even if Iowa turns out to be a one-off caucus mess, the troubled app, the confusion, and the embarrassment could change the larger conversation about how we vote.
One thing I've seen in my career is that there are a lot of people who know a lot about technology and not a lot about elections, and people who know a lot about elections but not a lot about technology. And so sometimes they get together and come up with ideas that don't work out.
Kim Alexander is president of the California Voter Foundation. She says Iowa could have profound implications for how elections are managed by political parties and governments.
I mean, in some ways, I think Iowa is a blessing in disguise because it really has made people stop and think about how are we using new technology in the voting process? Are we using it in sensible ways? Has it been fully tested?
Right, last night we were talking about the 15 million vote-by-mail ballots now going out across the state. Think about that. For all the technology in California, we are still a paper ballot state, no apps. In fact, California does not even allow our voting system to touch the internet.
It's interesting because
newer isn't always better.
Yeah, right. There are a lot of people who think the internet can solve everything.
Right.
And since the arrival of the internet, people have been asking for online voting, tabulating. It's not always the best way to go.
And the voter groups like the California Voter Foundation, Kim Alexander there, have been warning for all those years saying, be careful what you ask for, because the minute something goes wrong, you have a whole pile of problems that you would not have had. Thus, California, by law, this traditional, old school, kind of resilient voting process. And
that
it looks,
blue and black pen,
yeah,
that works.
And it looks pretty good right now.
Newer is not always better. You're right.